Hi everyone, it's me Danny, and I'm back with a couple more science activities to show you guys. So I heard that you're going to start learning about weather, and weather's really cool, especially since we live in Colorado. Colorado has some of the most interesting weather out of all the states in the United States. It can be sunny one day, and that same day it could snow in the afternoon, and that's pretty special. So I'm going to show you a couple activities, not about different types of weather, but I'm going to show you how the weather works. So, one of the most important parts about weather is temperature. If you watch The Weatherman, he'll talk about warm fronts and cold fronts. And when these two interact, that makes our weather. And it determines if it's going to be sunny, if it's going to be cloudy, and all sorts of different things. So, I have a little activity to show you first, and it's going to be what happens when a warm front touches a cold front. So I have two glasses of water here. I have a blue one, and this is our cold front. It's cold water. And this red one is our warm front. It's nice and hot. It's warm water. So we're going to put these in the container. I'm going to put the red water here on the right, and I'm going to put the blue water here on the left. And then I'm going to pull up the divider, and we're going to see what happens when the two interact and when they touch each other. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pour these in now. Alright, and then I'm going to pull up the divider. So did you see what happened? When I pulled up the divider, the blue water went underneath the red water, and now the red water's on top. And you can see there's two different layers. There's the warm front, and it's sitting on top of the cold front. So how is this like the weather? Because the weather's not water, right? It's air. But is air any different? What do you think? Yeah, air acts just the same way. You always hear people say, hot air rises and cold air sinks. So when the two fronts touch each other and a warm front touches a cold front, the warm front goes over the top of the cold front. And just like our container here, you can see there's a red front. The warm front is right on top of the cold front. So this is our first activity, and the next activity I'm going to show you is about what happens when you introduce or when you bring in some cold air into a warm air environment. Alright, I'm back with the second activity, and this second activity is what happens when you introduce cold air into a warm pocket of air. So what I have is I have this container, and in it is just some warm water. And I also have this ice cube, and I changed the color of the ice cube to blue. This is going to be what the cold air that's introduced into the warm air system. So I'm going to put the ice cube on one side of the container, and then I'm going to put a couple drops of red food coloring on the other, and we're going to see what happens. So, what did we see happen before? Yeah, we saw the cold water, it went underneath the warm water, so the cold air flows underneath the warm air. So, do you think anything's going to change here? Alright, let's see. So what's going to happen is this is going to make these things called convection currents. And a whole lot of different scientists, not just weather scientists, study convection currents. And convection currents is how different types of temperature flows through different systems. So I'm going to go ahead and put the ice cube over here. And I'm going to put the couple drops of food coloring over here. So you can kind of see the same things happening. The red wants to go over the top of the blue, and look what happens when it touches the cold air. It kind of doesn't want to touch it. It wants to flow away from it. So you can see the blue from the ice cube drops down, goes to the bottom of the container, and then it goes along the bottom edge, and then it goes all the way to the side, and then the warm air, it's touching it, and so then the warm air flows over the top. So I'm just going to let this go for a while, and then we'll talk more about what happened. So just like before, we see that all of the blue air, or the blue water from the ice cube, is now on the bottom, and all the red from the warm water is on the top. So it's just like what happened before, but this time it was just a little bit of cold air that was introduced into a lot of warm air. So like I said, there's a whole lot of scientists that study the way this behaves. And the more we understand how these two interact, the better we're going to be at predicting our weather. I hope you guys really like seeing this one, and I'll have some more activities for you. I'm going to do one activity about clouds and how clouds are formed, so I hope you guys stay tuned, and please feel free to ask me any questions you get, and I'll try and answer them. Thanks guys, bye!